I welcome everyone to this phenomenal gathering. I'm happy to be here this evening to welcome you all, our phenomenal OD practitioners and professionals from various backgrounds. We are delighted because today, these three topics that is going to be presented today by our practitioners is a very topical topic, is a very strong topic that at the end of today, we will all have something very strong to take back home. I welcome all of us and I ask us to try as much as possible to be attentive to join the interaction because it is designed in such a way that there will be interaction between the presenters and those that are participating. I am Maureen Omeibe once again, Executive Director of the GAP Groups Nigeria. The GAP Growth is a conglomerate that is focused on manufacturing of a component of motors, motorcycles, tricycles. It's also focused on real estate, haulage, and general logistics solutions. We've been in existence going to 3 decades, and I became fully part of the company some 12 years ago, and have been able to pin myself there, and now working in the capacity of the Executive Director of the group. So I welcome you all to this session, and I am glad because the direction this organization is taking, the direction that this network is taking is a very, very strong direction. Apparently, it is an area that a lot of people are looking away from and is actually making things very difficult in the practice of leadership in organization and that of also management. So I especially welcome Dr. Justin that has been very, very strong championing all the courses and gathering people together here to keep advancing the objectives of this wonderful organization. Dr. Justin, thank you very much for your stride. Your level of commitment is very inspirational, and I do believe that we have somewhere we are all headed, and until we get there, we will keep moving. So I thank you very much. Dr. Justin is the director of Center for Organization, Leadership and Development, United Arab Emirates, and you're also going to be leading us today in evidence-based, in credibility challenges in organizational research, issues and possible remedies. So Dr. Justin, we are fastening our seatbelts and waiting because we know that when you are on the table, there is a lot to be taken in terms of learning. So we are looking forward to that session with you this evening. Thank you very much for always bringing out your time and hitting issues right on the head. Thank you very much. I also welcome Dr. We need to, some of us need to mute our microphone. There is a background noise that is disrupting our session here. I think we should mute our microphone until we are ready to talk. So I also welcome you.
You need to unmute, Maureen. Yes.
Can I continue?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Okay, so I also welcome you, Dr. Chichetu. Dr. Chichetu is one of our also leading members from the African Leadership and Management Academy, Zimbabwe. I am glad that you are going to be having some introduction of our math this evening so that some of us who don't know much about the Academy, we have the opportunity of knowing precisely what the Academy is all about. Thank you very much. And I'll soon be calling on you to lead us on devotion and that introduction too. I also welcome Dr. Pindai Sithole. Dr. Pindai is also from Alma, and he will be leading us in today's topic on evidence-based scholarship. This is also another very important topic that I invited a couple of my colleagues in my industry, and I told them that they should be looking out at the time when we are going to be discussing evidence-based scholarship, because at this moment, there is a lot of material out there. There is a lot of training going on. There is a pool of information gathering and dissemination that is going on. And when you look at the entire thing, it is sometimes difficult to actually know what you should be extracting from and what you actually need as an organizational practitioner, as an organizational leadership practitioner. And for those of us that are running organization in the real world out there, it is very, very important sometimes that we look just beyond the materials that we are being, approached with, to know if there is actually value in materials that is being presented to us out there. So Mr. Sithole, Dr. Sithole, we are here waiting for you on this topic, and welcome you once again. I also welcome Joanne Preston. You say I should be calling you just Joanne. That's fantastic. I welcome you. Joanne is the president of International Society of Organization Development and Change. He's also the editor-in-chief of Organizational Development Journal. Dr. Joanne will be leading us in the topic today on preparing and structuring manuscripts and the blind peer review process. Dr. Joanne, this is another very, very important topic that is going to make today's conversation a very rewarding one to all of us that are here today. We welcome you. And of course, I will not forget the gentleman that's going to be giving us a closing prayer, Mr. Chundu. Mr. Chundu, I don't know if you're here, but if you're not here, we have sent our welcome. We will repeat it whenever you join us. I will not forget to also welcome, I'm seeing in my meeting room, I'm seeing Dr. Dotu Jegede. Dr. Dotu Jegede, I welcome you to this conversation. Dr. Jetu is another intellectual phenomenon that has been working closely with so many organizational leaders here in Nigeria. I welcome you to this forum, and we are looking forward to listening to you during the interactive session, because in a room like this, there is every tendency for one to begin to even benefit from topics that is not the major topic of the day. There is going to be tendency of practitioners divulging information that will be highly, highly important and beneficial to all of us that are here to learn, and share our perspectives. And we are looking forward, Doctor, when it comes to the interactive session to always also share in your perspectives. So welcome. I'm also seeing my friend Kenzai. I hope I'm not getting your name wrong. Hello, Kenzai. I'm also seeing Kenzai, the gentleman that let me know about is a mind transformational organization. We welcome you to this gathering, and I welcome every other person that is on the way to joining this conversation. I would just say, tighten your seatbelts. Where you are is a place you should be in this 21st century if you have interest in organizational development. And I can assure you that you will have something strong to take home and also impact in others that are looking up to you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, as I call on Dr. Chichetu to give us a devotion and that's a very important introduction of Alma. Dr. Chichetu.
Unmute.
Dr. Chichetu, please.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten to unmute there. Thank you for Maureen for the opportunity, and a wonderful welcome to all of us. Let me just quickly get into my devotion, then I'll conclude with a brief introduction on Auma. I would like to draw attention to the book of Proverbs. As we read through the book of Proverbs, there are three themes that stand out, three concepts that determines one's ability to lead a productive, ethical, and godly life. And these three concepts are knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And I would like to submit to us this evening that these three concepts are equally important as well, in as far as organizational performance is concerned, in as far as organizational sustainability is concerned. So how, as organizations, we get to interact with these three dimensions, the one, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, determines then how we are able to to grow. It determines how we're able then to function, especially now given the complexity of the environment as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. You find that knowledge is foundational, and this is where research comes in. And as today we are looking at the publishing of academic and scholarly practitioner articles, the dimension of knowledge is founded on research. So by definition, knowledge is information. This is where we are looking at the data. This is where we are looking at the statistics. And this is foundational to any research work, that the output needs to be the information, the data that we collect from the data gathering process. But it's not enough for us to end there. And it's unfortunate that for many institutions, we have stopped right at the level where we just present the knowledge, we just present the facts, we present the data, and we end it there. But if we can move to the second level, which is of understanding now, where we're in research, this is the analysis stage now, where we are now seeking to draw meaning from the information that has been gathered. And I believe as organizations also grow in that respect, where they do not only just get excited by having data and statistics, but they're able to draw meaning from the statistics and the data. We then are able to move much closer to optimum performance as organizations. So as we now build upon the meaning that has been drawn from the information, we can then make informed decisions as to what needs to be done, which is now the wisdom dimension, which is now the rightful application of the knowledge guided by the understanding into how organizations can move forward now. So as organizations, and I believe as a result of this platform here, that is what we are pushing for, where we'd want to bridge that gap between scholarly academic writing to have it begin to inform and influence practice. That's why we're talking about scholarly practitioner articles that will have a direct impact on practice. And I believe research should not just end with the output or the outcome, which is the data. It should ultimately lead to impact, which is now informing practice in the end. And for us to be able to do that, we need to function in the wisdom dimension. We need to desperately function in the wisdom dimension. So just that was my brief devotion for us, that we need at a personal level and at an organizational level, we need to function within these three dimensions: knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. For that then determines how optimally we get to live out our lives. Now, as Africa Leadership and Management Academy, we are all about trying to bridge that gap between theory and practice. So we are a Christian leadership school that is based in Harare, whose vision is that of developing and building leaders of integrity that will influence their immediate spheres of influence for Christ, leading to transformation within our societies, within our communities, and ultimately within our nations. And what is foundational to our philosophy of education is that we need to develop our students, the head, the heart, and the hands. So that's our educational philosophy, where we are aiming to touch the head, the hand, the heart, and the hands of our students. By the head, we are looking at giving them intellectual cognitive skills. By the hands, we are looking at giving them the capacity to be able to practice practical application of the skills that they would have gained in class. But what is unique about ALMA is the heart component, where we are emphasizing the character of our students, where we are emphasizing the value and the place for ethical conduct, for virtues in the life of a leader as we graduate our students. So we are currently offering 2 programs, an MBA in Leadership and Management. We also offer an MSc in Governance and Leadership. It's an affiliate college of the National University of Science and Technology. So both our programs are accredited with the Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education. And we are currently enrolling, as I was sharing earlier on, that we have had to adopt a blended format for learning, which then allows anyone from anywhere in the world to also enroll with AUMA. So I'd say briefly that's us as AUMA. Let me end there, Maureen.
Wow, thank you very much. It then means all of us must pass through ALMA, or we must have some sort of relationship with you people, because what you're doing is exactly what we are trying to be advancing in this organization. Thank you very much, Dr. Chichetu. And I will now go and take the overview of this seminar. I intentionally didn't want to take it because I wanted to have more people in the house, before I let us know why we are all gathered here today. I am seeing that my friend Tina Obugo is here. Tina, I welcome you. Tina is the principal consultant at Lugard Consulting. I welcome you to this conversation. We had done a welcome address to members that we are here at the starting time, and we are advancing now to the overview of our seminar this evening. Welcome once again. The focus of this seminar is to review the significance of scholarship in advancing organization, leadership, and development, and to facilitate networking and discussion around publishing scholarly and practitioner articles. Participants will be exposed to the credibility challenges and opportunities in organizational research and development. Expert presentation will be facilitated on preparing and structuring manuscript for journal publication and blind peer process. The seminar will bring scholar practitioners to offer comprehensive insight into the dynamics of publication. The discussion will support the need for evidence-based leadership, management, and organizational development, which is what OD is all about. The seminar is designed also to be interactive. It then means we are all expected to connect to the discussions by way of having observations, by way of making, inputs, by way of asking questions, and demanding softly for clarity in any area that we did not understand what the presenters are doing or saying. Session where we'll also have participants interact with scholar practitioners that have successfully conducted and reviewed articles in international peer review, leadership, and OD journals. So we are not just dealing with practitioners that are just starting in the field of organizational development and leadership. These are seasoned and experienced scholars that have been around for years and have worked at international level, at state level, at national level, at local level, and probably they now have purses of knowledge that can guide all participants that have decided to connect with this network. So it is, this is a place where no one can come and go out there and do something that will not generate impact that will be generational. So I go back to the review. So ladies and gentlemen, why we are here, we already all know. What we will take home will be determined by how we decide to connect to this program. We need to be attentive. We need to ensure that our background has some degree of tranquility so that we will not have noise that will be interrupting the session as it's about, as it's going on. And I am going to be calling on the first presenter, Dr. Sithole. I hope you are here and well connected to us, because you are the first person to take us through this topic, evidence-based scholarship. Is Dr. Pindai Sithole with us here?
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Maureen. Can you hear me,
Thank you,
Maureen?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Great, great. I think let me start off by saying that perhaps there's a mix-up on the focus of my presentation. I was meant to deal with common challenges that publishers face.
Okay.
Yeah, common challenges. So I'm not sure. That's what I've prepared to deal with the common challenges in publishing journal articles.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. That's also another important area that will still be good for this gathering. So go ahead.
Yeah, because it feeds into the other presenters the way I saw it as well. So thank you. Let me proceed on that aspect. So the first part, let me just share my screen so that it facilitates the discussion.
Okay.
Are you all able to see? Maureen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, great. So let me start off by sharing with you this quote, which says that generating an original idea is a phase that follows critical knowledge conception about the theme, and then directly affecting the competent development of this particular conception, and innovating its construction. So what this quotation is saying to us is that publishing anything in a journal or even in as a book, it's not an easy thing. It's not something that you do after supper, so to speak. It is something that requires energy and high level of thinking. And when it is accepted for publication, the editors would have seen that there is an original idea which would benefit the public near and far. It is not something that one has to copy. You build on the existing literature, the existing knowledge, and there's something new or a new insight is being presented. So that's quite fundamental. And as you write or as you write an article for publication, innovation is key. That last statement, which says innovating its construction. So it means that every writer or author must be innovative. Writers are innovative. Now, common challenges. I've got 4 categories that I'm going to share about common challenges in publishing journal articles. First, the selection of journals for publication. Second, writing acceptable journal articles. Third, submission of a journal to a selected journal article. And then lastly, feedback that is provided when you have submitted a journal article. So that first one, the challenge that many people face is that when they submit or when they consider to submit a journal article, they put less attention on the overall focus of the journal that they want to consider. It is vitally important that one reads the history of the journal, its objectives, its vision, its values, so that you'll be able to locate if what you want to write fits into that particular journal. The other dimension related to that is that sometimes you write an article which is misaligned to the thematic areas of the journal. So once again, it goes back to the first point that if you didn't read, you will not have understood the thematic areas of that particular journal through which you would want to submit an article. The last part is just the general lack of judgment on the chance of acceptance of your article if you submit it to that particular journal. And that lack of judgment can also be informed by the first point, where one would not have read thoroughly and understood who or what that journal is all about. And when that little knowledge or understanding is there or exists in you, they will not be able to judge whether the article that you want to conceptualize will be accepted in that particular journal. So that's the first challenge that many people face to select journals. The second one is relating to writing of that particular journal for acceptance. Well, you might have a very good idea to present, it's novel, it can actually incite people, people can get to next steps after reading your article. The way it is packaged can actually be a reason for rejection. One, you may not have followed the format and the styles that are presented in the journal. Things like font size, all that stuff, length of an article and so on. This might look quite, minuscule, but they are very fundamental when they are deciding whether to accept your journal article or not. You should have followed to the letter the format and the styles. The other thing that I might want to highlight there is number two, bad presentation of data or ideas. You might have very good ideas, but those ideas or the data in your article should be presented in a powerful way. In other words, there must be logic and methodical processes that should be illustrated in the way your ideas and data are presented in the article. The other part is the issue of referencing style. You should be able to, once again, to have read the guidelines that are pertinent to that particular journal and understand what reference style is required for your article. It doesn't matter which one you fall in love with, but if they say use Upper or use Harvard, just to follow what they're saying. Otherwise, the article may not be accepted. In fact, it will not be accepted. The other part is the English, the language. For example, in our region of the world, we use English, but the English has got various variants in it. It might be British English, American English. You need to make sure that you are consistent in your article when you are writing. You are consistent of the language that you are using. In fact, based on the first point I talked about earlier on the selection of the journal, they would specify which language should be used. If they don't, then be consistent with one particular style of language or variant of language throughout the article. Of course, the last point I shouldn't label on it, proofreading. That can actually cause you your article not to be accepted. The third common challenge is in the submission procedures. Sometimes people would submit using a wrong mode of submission. If it is required that you submit online using the journal procedures of submitting online, then you must do that. Otherwise, it will be rejected. If they say email, you should use the email. If they say hard copies, I doubt very much these days that hard copies would be the common way of submitting, but just in case. Yeah. So the point is, use the recommended submission procedure. Then the second point, there are some journals who would specify that in addition to submitting the article, you should also submit proof of editorial work on your article. In other words, you should have given it to an expert in the area of your of the subject matter that you are writing, for them to proofread, to give you expert advice and everything. It might be issues of layout or methodical way of presenting and so on. So all that should have been done, and they write a confirmation letter that or note that they have proofread your article. So that if you miss submitting an article together with the proof of editorial work, that can also be a cause of rejection of an article for publication. Lastly, there on this point, the issue of submitting beyond the deadline, of course, that is very unfortunate that sometimes it can happen like that. So we need to make sure that if you want your journal article to be accepted, submit it for starters within time. the next challenge or common challenge that is faced is not to follow the comments given. This is following the fact that your article might have been accepted and it has gone through the review process and you receive the comments. Those comments should be fully considered. You should follow them through step by step and address what needs to be addressed. If you are in doubt, you should feel free to communicate with the editors on a particular comment so that you are very clear of what needs to be done. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So that is very important. It is quite disappointing that when reviewers, you know how much time reviewers take to review an article. They really apply themselves. They go through this process. It is not an easy process. And then when they give the comment, you just ignore. It's quite unprofessional. It's frustrating because you would have wasted a reviewer's time. And if you get the comments and you're not happy about them and you just ignore submitting your article, again, that is not professional. Because remember, these reviewers is a network, just like we are here on this discussion. It's a network. Next time, one of the professional networks of that particular reviewer who would have given you feedback and didn't follow through might be sitting in another journal where they will be reviewing your other article. And because the news goes around, what, you're reviewing whose Pindai's journal? I remember this one. So you also reduce your chance of having another article in another journal to be accepted if you don't follow through the feedback you are given or you don't respond professionally about the feedback. Sometimes you may not have time to work on the feedback, but it is courteous and professional to communicate with reviewers that you are no longer able to meet the deadline. So those are the key challenges or common challenges that individuals normally face in deciding or submitting their journal articles for acceptance. If I go back earlier on, Maureen, you're talking about evidence-based. In every article, there must be hard facts to illustrate that what you are writing about is factual.
Yes.
Because an article must, as the devotion was presented by Dr. Chetu, the issue of knowledge, the issue of application of knowledge to transform organizations and lives. It is coming out of the quality of our knowledge that we put into writing. And because what we put into writing outlive our lives. So journal articles is not a small matter. We need to apply, to invest our time, to invest our intellectual capacity to ensure that we influence organizational development, we influence leadership, we influence policy, we influence decisions when people read our articles. So we need to provide evidence in the arguments that we are putting across. In short, those are the key issues that I thought I should share in this platform, just to start the conversation. Others will contribute in addition to what I've just contributed. Thank you very much, Maureen. I'll stop there.
Right, Dr. Sithole, thank you very much. Brief, but very, very insightful. And along the line, we are also seeing the connection between what you have presented and what was originally supposed to be the topic. I think
okay, thank you.
The two of them, it's actually is interconnected, because when we are talking of evidence-based scholarship, we are also talking about trying to let the writers know that nobody writes just for the sake of writing. You are writing because you are expected to add to a body of existing knowledge somewhere.
Yes.
And that has to be done in such a way that when it comes out to the public domain, when it goes into the organization that the articles are meant for, there will be a value-based extraction from what you have written as a writer. So thank you very much for this insightful briefing on this topic. Of course, we have a lot of questions that I know we would want to ask. I just wanted to say that we should step our questions by the side, send all questions to our chat room. So as we are going on, we will be taking questions. So at the end of all the conversations, we'll begin to throw our questions to each presenters, and that way we will not lose count, and of course there will be orderliness in the house as we continue in this session. I think that is what we should do. And I want to encourage all of us, all the participants here, prepare your question in your paper, in your diaries. Keep it with you as we are advancing in the conversation. If I should say, the best thing is for us to take all these topics and then we come back to questions so that we will not, we'll make sure that every single thing that we need to throw open regarding each topic that has been presented will be in line with what, and it will also allow our presenters to also participate in other people, in other conversations that the other people are also presenting. So I thank you, Dr. Sithole.